Kalala Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak, Kudash, and double honors to the elders of Jemash Ruel, blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing his word in all sincerity and in honesty. With that being said, Shalom Israel, Barakatah. Today's lesson, Iran is becoming DT's forever war. And here I have an RT.com article that says why Iran is becoming DT's forever war. As long as attacks and demands continue unabated, reasonable voices for peace will never be heard. We're not in a time of peace, but of war. And even when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction cometh upon them. More than a month into the war with Iran, Washington is confronting the strategic nightmare it tried to avoid. And when it comes to Iran, they are a formidable opponent. What began as a campaign that many in the U.S. and Israel appear to have imagined as short, punishing, and politically manageable has instead become prolonged, expensive, globally destabilizing, and increasingly difficult to define as success. Right. There shall be another Vietnam unto them. The battlefield logic is now inseparable from the political logic, and on both fronts, the pressure is mounting on DT's administration. And who's to blame for the shutdown is the Lloyds of London. They were the ones who shut it down completely. That strait will not open unless the war stops. And it's as you heard here today. It shall not open due to this war being prolonged. And there is no trust between Iran and the United States right now. That trust is fully gone. And Iran wants the Americans out of the Persian Gulf for good. Iran will not come to peace terms with the so-called Israelis or the United States due to the United States' continued campaign of mass murder and of destruction in Gaza and in the West Bank. And these are reports. So this war shall be prolonged. But as soon as they implement that CHIP of Revelation 13:16 through 18, that third world war of utter destruction cometh quickly. With that being said, let's go over to that scripture of Revelation 11 and 14. Here we have that scripture of Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Woe means destruction. The second world war has passed, but the third world war of destruction cometh quickly. Just as soon as they pass that CHIP of Revelation 13 and 16. That's what the second woe is. The second world war. And the third woe speaks of that third world war of utter destruction. That inevitable third world war of utter destruction. The Lord Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua has given Esau Edom the knowledge of the sword and has created the modern day smith in order to bring about the many weapons of his indignation, right, of his righteous anger. And those weapons speak of the missiles, those arrows of mass destruction. Now, when it comes to the Lord Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai, he is bound by his word, and he will not break it, even for his great name's sake. The Lord is bound by his word. And the Lord is not one that he should lie. As soon as they pass that CHIP of Revelation 13 and 16, that third world war cometh quickly. And on that day, the Carmanians will come with great power. That military power of the Carmanians is now being seen in its first stages. Right, with those arrows and drones. Let's go over to that scripture of 2nd Ezra 15 and 30. Because that scripture said that with great power shall they come. 2nd Ezra 15 and 30. Also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come, and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. The modern day Assyrian is Edom. And that land speaks of America. The Carmanians represent the Iranian wild boars of Iran. And when it comes to wild boars, they are tough and they are fierce. The Iranians of today are the Persians, and it is prophesied that they shall come with great power. And you are seeing that military power. In its first stages. And they have plenty of weapons because they can make it at a cheaper rate. Cheaper than the United States. When it comes to Iran, they should not be underestimated. But you know what? They have been underestimated. When we told you that they had an enormous arsenal at their disposal, many did not believe. They have very sophisticated and accurate theater ballistic missiles with a range of 1,200 miles. And tactical ballistic missiles, those TBMs. They also possess cruise missiles, unmanned systems, and drones. Right, kamikaze drones. Once they implement that CHIP of Revelation 13 and 16, that third world war cometh quickly. No holds barred. It shall come quickly, and it shall be nuclear. Now, when it comes to Iran, they claim that they do not have arrows of mass destruction, but there are reports that North Korea as well as Russia has given them those arrows of mass destruction. That was on Facebook. But if Iran was to get attacked or invaded by the West, that will definitely draw out the Russians to war. But when it comes to these nations having nuclear capability, the scripture of Joel 3 and 10 has said, let the weak say, I am strong. Let's go over to that scripture. Joel 3 and 10, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Right. They have gone from farming folk to military men. Now, when it comes to Iran, they claim that they do not have an arrow of mass destruction. But like I said, Russia could very well provide them with those arms, with those arrows of mass destruction, as well as North Korea and China. But Iran does possess the know-how on how to make them. They have that capability. So they have leveled out the playing field when it comes to the nuclear arms race. When it comes to nuclear capability. Let the weak say, I am strong, pertains to those weaker and smaller nations that did not have nuclear capability, but now possess it. But now those weaker and smaller nations are now confident in saying, I am strong. due to the fact that they now possess nuclear capability. And not only do they possess nuclear capability, but they are also backed up by Russia, China, North Korea. They're backing one another up. The scriptures have said, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hook into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And those weaker nations are now strong because they have leveled the playing field in the possession of nuclear capability. And when it comes to the scriptures, it also speaks of the making of these arrows of mass destruction by the modern day smith. That's found in Isaiah 54:16. The ancient smith made primitive weapons of war. But now in these modern times, the modern day smith makes deadly weapons of propulsion and of guidance systems that have the capability of taking out tens of thousands and even hundreds of thousands in one single detonation. But when it comes to the Carmanians, they are now fulfilling biblical prophecy in its first stages, and with great power shall they come. But with that being said, Kalalau Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahoshai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash, and double honors to the elders of GMS Ruel. Blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing this word in all sincerity and in honesty. With that being said, Shalom Israel, Brakta. Shalom.